All right, we are now moving into leather hard slab construction. So I rolled a slab yesterday and I put it on a piece of sheetrock. This is sheetrock, right? It's got plaster in the middle, paper on either side. And I left it on there overnight. And what I have now is a piece of clay that I can pick up. Let me turn the camera. I can pick this piece of clay up, this sheet, and it's not collapsing and it's not ripping and it's not sagging. It's what we call leather hard. So it's stiff, but I can still cut into it. And that's what we want. And you want a slab that's about this large. All right, and of course I'll be cutting off pieces of slab for you, so I'll give you the right amount of clay. But you do want to roll a wide, long slab. So we're going to make covered boxes with lids and flanges, and I will have shown you this in class. I'll hold up a sample in class. And we're going to use templates again. So this time we're working geometrically. We have not done that yet. So the wonderful thing about clay is that you can work with it in a soft manner and work with it organically, or you can kind of defy the malleability of the clay by working with it leather hard, and you can make really slick, geometric, hard-edged, beautiful forms. And so that's what we're going to do. So you start with leather hard clay. You cannot do this with wet clay. Do not start cutting your slabs up unless they're leather hard. You'll be sad because it won't work. All right, so here I have a 4x4 template. And we're going to make 4x4 boxes, all of us. Again, as I said to you before, these first lessons of the year teaching you the techniques, I send you all down the same kind of creative roadmap. I give you a little opportunity to make your work creatively yours in subtle ways. And then once you learn all the techniques, then I really cut you loose and give you much more open-ended assignments so that your work can be uniquely yours. But you have to learn the techniques first. So we're all going to make 4x4 boxes. So you're going to begin by using the template, and you want to put it as far to the end of your slab as you possibly can, because you don't want to cut it right out of the middle. Because if you do, you're wasting this and this area and this area. Look what happens if I move down here. Well, what do you know? I could get another square out of this slab if I used it in a smart way. So this is a really important point, and I'm stressing it very much because every year I make this point and people still sort of mindlessly go like this and start cutting out. You're going to use your slab as efficiently as you can. So I'm moving down all the way to this corner, and I'm going to be able to get one out of this, and then I can get 2 or 4 out of the rest of the slab. The sad thing is when you've rolled a slab, it has to be leather hard, so you can't roll it and use it. You have to roll it and let it get leather hard. And it's disconcerting when you've got your box 3/4 of the way made and you've run out of slab. So that's why I'm making such a big deal about using the slab efficiently. So I am going to and there's a few ways to do this. I'll show you the 2 different ways you can do this. It depends what your comfort level is. So in the past, I have had you trace the stencil first and then work into it and then cut it. And so this is a similar approach. Trace the stencil, get rid of the stencil, and go to a ruler, because these are a little flexible and you could cut into them or bend them, and you can't do that with the ruler. And so if you want tremendous accuracy and neatness, then you're going to want to do it this way. It's a little extra work, and you're going to want to stay on that line. And also, see, I'm moving the slab for comfort. I'm a right-handed person. I'm going to try to always cut in a comfortable way. Don't start doing this. It's very uncomfortable, and you won't make a good cut. You want to hold the knife against the ruler. It's easy to travel away. So hold it against the ruler as you dig in. And I usually cut through a few times. I don't try to slice it all at once. And notice that the knife is absolutely perpendicular to the table. If you lean it this way or lean it this way, you're not going to have a straight edge on your box, and it's not going to turn out to your liking, is my guess. Okay, I'm going to push this aside and finish the last 2 cuts. lining up my ruler. Notice I'm holding it firmly here. And then I'm going to slice through. I'm holding it against the ruler. Oops, see, I did that so dramatically that I moved the ruler. I'm holding it against the ruler while I cut through. Always save your scraps, by the way. Don't start throwing them away or bunching them up, because you never know. You might need one, and you'll see why in a bit. Okay, cutting through, cutting through, cutting through. Ta-da! All right, I have my base. Now I'm going to put walls up around this. And you would think, oh, okay, trace another 4x4. But actually, no. Because we're going to be putting these on top of this. You don't want to push it against the sides. That makes for a weak box because the bottom has a seam. You want the seam to be grounded on top of the base, not sliding up against the side. Okay, so that means that when I go to put another one, where am I going to put it? It's not going to fit. So 4x4 is only for your base. Then you're going to pick up one of these guys that says 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. I've taken a quarter off two sides of this, and you'll see why that is a wonderful thing. So I'm going to go back to my slab, pull it over so you can see. I'm not just going to keep going here, wasting the slab. I'm going to pull this down as far as I can before I lose the slab. I'm going to make sure this is nice and even. Why cut an extra side if I don't need to? And now I'm showing you the second way to cut out of the stencils, and that's to go right around the stencil. This is tar paper, so it's pretty durable. It's why I use it. It doesn't really succumb to moisture. So if you think you are skilled enough to use a sort of cardboard edge instead of a metal ruler as your guide, then just do this instead of tracing and then cutting out with a ruler. But notice how slow and careful I'm being. Scrap, lose the stencil, pull up the piece. Move this out of my way, here I go. Okay, great. So you'll notice when I put this wall here that I have this little space, which is going to allow me to put the next slab there. And then when I go around, I'll have a little space, and I'll put the next slab there. And when I get to the last side, this will be all the way over, but there'll be a little space here, and I can tuck the last slab inside. You go around. Students sometimes cut out all their slabs, and then they stand them all up, and sometimes they go here, and then they go here, and then they try to cram one in here. No, you're going to go around the square. And I highly recommend you cut and build, cut and build. Do not cut them all at once. You are going to make a mistake. Every year, I have students that don't listen to this, and they take their stencils and they cut them all out, and they realize they've either used the wrong stencil, or as you build your box, you're a human being. So you're not a machine, and sometimes things change when you attach, and all of a sudden you've got them all cut out, but they don't work anymore. So cut and build, cut and build. All right, so I'm going to build. I need my needle tool. Here it is. By the way, there's a sheet, as always, with all of these instructions for you. And I have my slurry. Here's my slurry. All right, so this is my 4x4. This is my 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. I'm going to hold it up to one end, leave this end exposed. Cool. That's going to be great. I'm going to make a mark here, and I'm going to make a mark here. And that's just to remind me what I'm doing. Because if you're like me, when I'm in the studio with other people, I tend to chat. Or sometimes even if I'm doing something that's a little brainless, something repetitive like glazing 30 mugs all the same way, which I've done, I'll have the TV on. And I'm like enjoying a program or the news while I'm doing this. And it's easy to lose track. So I always mark what I'm supposed to do next so I don't goof. All right, I'm applying pretty wet slurry, guys. If your slurry is thick and goopy, it's probably not going to make the right kind of connection for you. You need this to really stick. As a matter of fact, I often go back because the slurry fills in all the marks I just made. I go back and kind of chew them up again. You want a connection that does that with glue, with slurry in there, okay? If you go like this, yeah, it'll stick now, but later it'll fall off. The danger of your piece cracking and falling apart, or falling apart, is probably the highest when working with leather hard slab construction. There's no forgiveness. There's no moisture. There's no tons of moisture that you can spread things in and they stay. No. You must score and slurry appropriately. Okay, if you don't have oozing, you haven't put enough slurry. So I've got some oozing. You're going to go with your wooden rib. This is all in your kits. And I'm just going to clean up the ooze. And scrape here. I'm going to look on the outside. Okay, I'm just going to scrape that. That looks good. And then I like to take this right angle and put it up inside and see if I've got this straight, which I do. Right, that's nice and straight. Okay, the next slab. Good, it's going to go right there. There's a little place for it. Back to my 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 stencil. Setting it, pull it so you can see. Move this over. Setting it right up where I just cut. Trying to use as much of my slab as I can. Sometimes I make a mistake. And then I'm so happy that I was really so efficient with my slab. Because then I'm like, oh, this piece doesn't fit. Oh, well, no big deal. I have slab left. I'll cut another piece. Okay, there we go. And I have to cut this. I almost didn't stay along the stencil there. Cool. Okay, done. Pull this off. And I'm going to attach one more wall, and then we're going to go to something that's a little more finished. I'm trying to make these videos not quite so long. Okay, so let's see if this, let's see if this fits. Oh yes, that's great. That fits right in there. Love it. Okay, mark it. I need to score it there, and I need to score here, and I need to score under here, and I need to score right there. Okay, and then I go along and do it. And attach. We're going to pretend I did because I don't want to bore you. So that's attached. All right. Then I would put my third piece. Of course, it won't stay. Oh, I forgot a very important step. Let's put this down for a second. Rewind. When you finish this business, is it straight? You must put in a weld of clay. You get your soft clay and you roll a little tiny coil, and you're going to set the coil into the seam. This is so important. Bad teaching for forgetting this important step. Glad I remembered while I was still doing the video. This is called a weld, and it is going to really, look how much sturdier this is now. It's going to really solidify your box. Some people go, yeah, but I don't like this thing here. You can, if you want to, you can scrape away at this and make it square again. I don't usually bother. Because if I just make a nice smooth line with my finger, it looks good. Okay, so back we go. We've attached this. We've put a weld here. And we've scored and slurried. Weld, and on we go to the next one. Over, weld, and we get a 3-sided piece. There it is. Okay, this is great. This is going to save you time from watching a video that is endless. All right, I'm putting in the last piece, and as I predicted, as I told you earlier, it's going to fit. It's going to fit. It fits right in there and inside here. Perfecto. Just follow that formula I gave you, and you'll do great, and it'll fit. And of course, I'm in the room if you're struggling and don't know what I mean. Now I already scored this to speed up the video. Okay, that goes on the bottom. I already marked these too. Okay, if that's on the bottom, see, I'm confused. Wait, where's the bottom one? There's the bottom one. There we go. I did it. See, I marked it for myself and I could figure it out. Okay, and so I've already scored half of this. The scoring cannot be wimpy. I don't know how else to put it. You got to chew this thing up. You got to put major crevices into the edge of your work. Where's the other X? There it is. If you do it like if you're drawing little light lines, your box is going to fall apart. Seen it happen many times. Chew it up. Chew it up. Chew it up a lot. Okay, slurry. Paint it on here. Paint it on. Oh, I didn't score this. Look at that. I didn't score this. Okay. Paint it on here. Paint it on here. A little here. We need some here and here. All right. Yes. All right, setting it in place. It goes on the end here, and it goes inside here because of the way we cut and the way we built. And now I'm making sure that it's attached, pushing down, pushing in, looking for the oozing. Oozing must be happening, folks. Lining it up. Is it all lined up? It is. Okay, I'm going to scrape it. I'm going to scrape it. I'm going to scrape it. Nice. And then I'm going to take a weld. This clay's gotten a little dry. Add a little water. This is the hardest part because you can't, it's hard to get the bottom. So I'm just going to set that in to place and then I'm smushing it. Good. All right. Another little weld. Where's my clay? Here it is. Another weld up this seam. Nice. Okay, good. And I need to weld up this seam. Notice I make it pretty thin. If you use big, huge coils, your box has these gigantic, thick corners. All right. Sometimes when you push, you end up pushing the wall out when you're putting in your weld. Okay. So I need a lid. So there's a few ways to make lids. And some students say, oh, okay, I'll go back and trace the 4x4 square. And then I'll put it on top. That is very logical. However, as I said before, you're not a machine. And this may not fit perfectly. You could cut this out and put it on, it won't fit. So, turn it over. It's handmade. It's not going to be this perfect anymore. It's handmade. One side's going to be askew, so turn it over, trace it. Don't cut it. Because if you cut it, you'll cut into your pot. Where does this need to go so you can see? You'll cut right into the pot. So this you must trace and cut with a ruler. And no matter what shape it is, you may pull off this thing and go, oh, that's not square. That's okay. That's okay if it's not perfectly square. You're new at this. I don't make it perfectly square, and I've been making these things for a long time. All right, now I got to really be very accurate so that I'm sure this will fit on my box. Okay, cutting through here. And finally the last couple sides. And then I'll tell you how to make lids and flanges, and you'll be ready to fly on your own and make wonderful leather hard boxes with lids. Last little side. And look, I still have slab left. So if I goof, I'm fine. Lots of slab left. Okay. But we may not need it. Let's move our box here. Let's move the slab out of the way. And I noticed that I have a bulging wall there. Okay. So I turned this over. So I have to turn this over like this. Everyone get what I just did? If I measured it like this and it's not a perfect square, when I turn it back, I need to put it upside down. And that's not bad, but it's not great. So I'm gonna swivel it in case I got confused. That's a little better. That's a little better. Let's try one more time. Okay, that might be it. I think this is it. I'm gonna keep going. I want to make sure. Oh no, this is it. This is it. So, I've been doing this for years, and this only fits nicely one way, which means it wasn't square when I finished. The top was not square, even though I tried to be so accurate. All right, so tracing for the lid. All right, now I want to show you different ways of making a lid. So if we just left this like this and fired it, like, okay, it has a lid, but this lid's going to slide off. So you need a flange, and a flange keeps your lid in place. And so I'll turn this back over. As a matter of fact, I think I will mark this so that I don't have this problem. Remember, I turned it and turned it. I'm going to take my needle tool, if I can only find it, and the big mess I made. Hello, needle tool. Here it is. And I'm going to draw, I'll do it this way so you can see. I'm going to draw a line through the lid and into the box. This is now a key, what I call a key. This tells me which way this lid goes. It doesn't go like this, it doesn't go like this. It goes like this. As a matter of fact, see, I didn't go all the way up, but let's put a little arrow. All right, now I can put this aside, turn it over, and I'm going to put a flange on this. And I've got extra slabs, so that's a wonderful thing. I'm going to cut a strip of clay from my slab. You can't see. I'm not used to having to film everything I do. Forgive me. Here we go. I'm going to cut a strip. As a matter of fact, I want a nice long strip, so I'm going to turn the slab this way. I'm not going to waste my slab. I might need something happens, I dent one side, or you never know. Oh, I moved the ruler. Do as I say, not as I do. Hold the ruler still, cutting through a bunch of times. One more time. I don't feel like it's all the way through. There we go. Okay, pull this away. Oh, actually, this is pretty good. This is good right here. Yeah. I'm going to bisect this because I think this is about the right size. This is tricky now because it's such a tiny slab. Sometimes what I do is I put another slab, a scrap even. I could even put a scrap so that my ruler has something to sit on, right? If you just hover it in the middle of this thing, it's hard to do. But if there's a ruler, if there's another slab, that slab's not as thick though. Let's grab this one. Then I'm steadier. Okay, here we go. I'm cutting this in half. I probably should have measured it, but how long can a demonstration go? Okay. Oh yeah, they're not the same. Sad. That's bad demonstration. I gotta fix it, guys. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. It's not nice. I have to take a little off. They don't match. Oh, don't do that. Okay. Yeah, I gotta really hold this down. It's good sometimes during a demo to have things go wrong because it helps students see the pitfalls. It's not great as an art teacher when you do. Yeah, I've ruined this. It's pretty small. It's not the same size. Okay, we're gonna roll with it. Here's my lid. These are for my flange. We're gonna set this in here, and it's gotta fit inside here. So I can't just stick this on the edge. I gotta move it in a little, if that makes sense. It has to come in so that when I put it, it can go into the box. So I'm gonna move in. So the thickness of the box is this, right? So it's this. So I'm gonna come in a little bit more and put a mark. And then I'm gonna set this down, and I'm going to cut an angle on this. I'm going to bevel this edge, and I'm going to bevel this edge. There we go. We're going to score and slurry this on. I'm using that line I made. I'm not doing this very well because I'm rushing. So this connection right now is kind of quick and dirty. You know the right way to do it. Mrs. Brody's rushing through this because I want you to be able to get to work soon. So there's one. Now, take another one. There's the rest of mine, right? It still has a beveled edge on it. You see? From when I cut it, I just turned it around and it fits nicely. Now I got to make sure it's in far enough though, because I don't want it to hit the lid. So I'm going to move it in a little bit, and I'm going to bevel this corner, and I'm going to score and slurry it on, and we're just going to like stick it on like really the fast wrong way. But let's say I did that really carefully, like you're supposed to. Do you see now that this, move it over, this is going to fit in right into the hole? Where's my line? Wrong way. There it is. Where's the line on here? Here it is. The lid goes on like this. So I would have gone around all four sides, leaving enough space so that this square can sit down inside your box. That's flange number one. Flange number two, which is harder, is you could cut this to match this size. So make it smaller so that it's this size, this square, it's this size. And set your lid, I'm going to make this a little smaller so I can show you. Taking a little off both sides, and I'm kind of guessing here. But this is where your lid sits down in your box. It's sits down inside like that. In which case, your flange goes in here. You would take your strip and you'd score and slurry it in here. Like that. So that you could take your lid and your lid could be flush with the top of your box. It would sit down inside. I still haven't cut it the right size. It's mostly because of the welds. The welds are getting in the way. But I think you understand, right? There it is. It goes down inside. And the last way is you take your lid, ignore this for the moment, and you score and slurry it right onto the box. Now you have a closed cube. And then you can split the box in half and have half the box open and then can close again. So that you can actually have the box opening from the middle or from the top third, it's up to you. But then you completely connect it, and then you decide how you're going to cut into it. And if you make a line that is unusual, like this line I just made, if I cut like this and do the same thing all the way around, then it will always fit, because these teeth, so to speak, will hold it in place. If you slice it down the middle, the thing is going to slide around. So you do have to create some kind of lock and key system so that when you put it on, it's held. And I have a little diagram here of a few ways to do it on the wall. Oh, you can't see it because it's overexposed. Okay, let's see if I can do it this way. Oh yeah, this works. Okay, move it. Okay. So, this was up from last year. Move the box out of the way. So here is this idea of slicing it in half, right? Sorry. Where do I want to go? Where do I want to go? I want to show you. There it is. So slicing it in half. But again, if you just slice it in half, it'll slide around. So you can slice it a third of the way down, but look how I made a little notch, right? A little notch. And that way the lid stays there. There are notches on all four sides. Occasionally, wait, I'm going to go to this one next. Here, you could put a soft up and down business. That's going to work too. If you cut an unusual wavy line, that will hold the box lid in place. Every once in a while, I have a student that makes this design. And this is not going to work. Because if you see there's an undercut, if you tried to pull this lid off, it's going to get caught on these things, right? It's going to get caught on these teeth. This dovetail, the way this is cut, it can't come off. This is called what we call an undercut. You've undercut it so it can't come off. Everything has to be like this so it can lift away. It can lift off, right? So even like this can be a problem. So it looks like it's not an undercut, but sometimes it can be subtly undercut, ever so slightly undercut. So I recommend you put these kinds of lines, these kinds of cuts, so things lift away, or these kinds of cuts so they lift away. All right, what's the assignment? I'm going to put this on my face now. What I've learned doing this is that I'm using a document camera, and the last time I did this, my mouth and my face didn't match. The video and the audio weren't matched. So that's the case, sorry. I want you to make a covered box with a flange and a lid, and I would like you to decorate it with a little something special for a knob. There should be a little theme to your box. So you'll see my box before I have you watch the video. I'll hold it up. It's got a little rabbit for the lid. Sorry, it's at home. I'm doing this demo before I bring in the box, but I'll have it in the studio to show you. It has a little rabbit for the lid, for the knob on the lid that lifts off the lid. And I put little extra feet underneath the bottom of the box, which lifts it off the table, which makes it look really nice. And I want you to learn about feet, using feet. So it needs to be a 4-inch box that has a lid system of your choice. I showed you 3, with a little knob that has some kind of sculptural element to it, and then has little feet on the bottom that lifts the piece off the table. And then we'll have fun glazing them. and then you will have learned all of the hand building techniques. And we will go into more complicated projects, and I will begin to introduce a few of you at a time to the potter's wheel. So stay tuned, sports fans. Thank you for your attention through this rather long video. I hope you enjoy Leatherheart construction. Off you go.